So, welcome to Beauty of Colors podcast, Savio. It's
Yes.
great to have you on the show.
Thank you, Cleanne. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So, Savio, tell us a little bit about you, your transformation, and what shaped your journey.
Now, I can tell you a lot about myself, but I think the main thing that people are interested in or that has a lot of gravitas is the fact that in 2014, I was diagnosed with stage 3 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And because of that situation, because of that challenge, because of that obstacle, I was able to forge a new path where now I inspire other cancer survivors. So I'm a cancer survivor in remission for 9 years now. I'm able to allow them to tell their story beyond something that's horrible that's happened to them. I allow them to amplify their impact. And because of that, I have a lot of, I guess you would say, credentials behind me. So I'm a board certified wellness coach. I'm a best-selling author. I'm a media journalist. And just recently I did a TEDx talk in North Carolina.
Mhm.
And it at this point has gotten a lot of views. So I'm really happy that the idea of inspiration and hope is resonating with people.
Okay. So, what do you mean by love your inner stranger? What are you talking about?
Yeah. So my TEDx talk is called 7 Minutes to Wellness, How to Love Your Inner Stranger. And for me, the germination of that idea actually was in 2014. I was in the hospital bed. I was bedridden for a week. I was in the hospital for 15 days because they had to put a nephrostomy tube in me and they had to distend about 8 liters of fluid from my abdomen. And
Mhm.
in that moment, I remember thinking, okay, my physical body is dying. I was stage 3.
Mm.
And I said, how am I going to pull myself out of this situation? Of course, I have to rely on doctors and medicine and all that. But a part of me was like, wait a minute, you're still vibrant in your emotions. You're still vibrant in your mental acuity. You're still vibrant in your relationships with other people. You're still vibrant in your dreams. So how am I going to pull that? And for me, the stranger was my shame. Cancer brought aspects of vulnerability and shame. Brene Brown would love this topic, by the way, but it brought that to the surface. And it was only years later that I was able to unpack and unravel what that actually meant, what actually happened to me. And so for me, the stranger is really that person who doesn't want to be seen sometimes or discounts themselves. It's not the critic. It's not the one that says, you are this, you are that. It's more of someone who I don't really know yet that I want to know better, someone who I want to forge a better relationship with. I kept that term stranger vague on purpose
Mhm.
because a lot of people have said to me, it means this, it means that, and that's what I'm going for. I don't want it to be a universal meaning. I want it to be something that someone can resonate with and resonate to, especially if you're going through something like a medical crisis in your life.
So you're telling me that the inner stranger is a new version of yourself, but it's a better version. And because of what you've been through, you have elevated and you have learned for that journey.
Yeah, that's my meaning. Someone else said to me that their inner stranger
Mm-hmm.
was that aspect of themselves
Mm-hmm.
that they themselves don't want to accept yet,
Mm.
that they themselves want to get to know better, that they themselves want to a large degree, feel like they can coexist. And I
Wow.
thought that was beautiful.
Mm-hmm. I guess everybody has a different inner stranger and what it kind of meant to them and with their journey. So that's wonderful. So how do you help individuals discover the profound truth to know thyself is to heal thyself?
Beautifully said. It
Mhm.
was the way I ended my TEDx talk. Um, and it's really about individuals knowing aspects of themselves that they don't want to unearth or unpack or look at or reveal, because as you know, the inside job is the hardest job of all. And for me, it was an ancient saying that I heard a long, long time ago that if you know yourself, you will heal thyself. And so for me, even though I did the chemo route, I also did a whole bunch of integrative modalities because for me, I believed in body autonomy. I believed the fact that I only had this challenge, this particular malady to overcome. No one else is going to do it for me. And so I think the more that you get to know yourself from a deeper level, not just surface, but a deeper level, emotions, mental,
Mhm.
your dreams, your relationships with other people, your aspect of your physical body, and getting to know that stranger within as well. I
Mhm.
think that's the only way to healing, because I always tell people, I'm a board certified wellness coach. I always tell people healing doesn't always occur in the chemo bed. Healing doesn't always occur in the doctor's office. Healing doesn't always occur. Healing occurs in different ways and different means. It's for us to figure out what healing really means to us, and for us to do whatever we can to find that healing in whatever way and modality that it comes to. So for me, it's really about allowing people to just be centered within themselves. They could do meditation, they could do breathing. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we could do now. But at the end of the day, it's really looking closely into aspects of self.
Wow, that's profound. Okay. So what do you mean when you say be present for and with thyself using the power of the now? What is the power of the now? What are you talking about?
And look, I'm going to cop to it. I'm not really good at it that much. I mean, I'm getting better at it. The
Mhm.
now is really what people consider the present. If you're looking at social media, a lot of people call it manifestation and thinking and feeling. It's really about this aspect of yesterday is
Mhm.
the past. Tomorrow is the future, right? So they often always say is that if you look in the past, that's some level of depression. If you look forward into the future, that's the level of anxiety. What
Mhm.
is the way through all that is the present. It's the moment that you're here now.
Mhm.
And once again, a second later, the next moment that you're here now. So it's really about just cultivating that understanding and
Mhm.
that knowledge and that
Mhm.
acceptance of just being in the moment. And I know that's hard. Like I mentioned, that's hard for me as well. But I think the more you do that and the more tools you have at your advantage, sometimes people do something called EFT, tapping,
Mhm.
sometimes breathing. Some people take ice baths to get themselves in the present.
Mhm.
Whatever you need to do, I think it behooves us as humans on this planet to really figure out a way that we can cultivate more in the moment time versus another moment time.
Wow. So you're saying that the moment is whatever you're doing right now in the present.
Correct. And I
Okay.
think the reason why that's important, and that's why meditation is such a big deal to most people, including myself, is the fact that it allows you to sort of unright the wrongs that you feel that you are creating in this world, right? Because everyone thinks, "Oh, did I do that right? Did I do that wrong? I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I could have done this." No, the present is just what exists now. You can't erase it. It just is what it is, and it keeps moving forward. And I think the more that we strive to go against the grain,
Mhm.
I think the more suffering that we incur.
So you're just saying just let it go and just let it flow. The now.
Beautifully said. And I don't mean this for everything, right? If you
Yeah.
have, for example, I have a speaking engagement to do,
Mhm.
you can't just let it go, let it
Yeah.
flow, and let it happen. Okay, you're gonna bomb. Okay,
Yeah. You want to
but
be prepared.
I think it's in a healthy like way. So
Mhm.
I know a lot of individuals. I'm not a parent who have kids, and a
Mhm.
lot of them say is it's really hard for them to balance their entrepreneurial endeavors with
Mhm.
their relationship with their wife, with their kids. They feel
Mhm.
like they have to be three different people. No, you don't have to be three different people. Just be present in every activity that you're doing. So all those are equally important. It's only when we try to self-analyze ourselves too much that we get caught up in the mental or the monkey mind, as they call
Mhm. Okay, wow. So tell us where the listeners can get a copy of your book. You said that you're a best-selling author. Tell us about your book. What's the name of your book, and how can the listeners get in touch with you?
Sure. So at this point, I've had the privilege, and I say privilege on purpose, of
Mhm.
interviewing 200 cancer survivors. That my book was part of an interview series that I did. I pitched to my editor, and I said, "Can we do something on cancer survivorship? It's really meaningful to me." I cover lifestyle and wellness. Last week on Sunday, I covered the Oscars on the red carpet, and so yeah,
Oh, you did.
I
Nice.
did. Yeah, I went to LA and I covered
Mhm.
it. I
Okay.
also interviewed celebrities like Venus Williams and Ice-T and Deborah Messing and Carson Kressley. But I
Nice.
said to him, this is really important to me. So he's
Mhm.
like, okay. So he ended up thinking of a brilliant title. I
Mhm.
survived cancer and here's how I did it. At
Mm-hmm.
that point, when my book came out, I did 175 interviews with cancer survivors, different walks of life, different cancers. And he
Mm-hmm.
comes to me and he's like, you don't understand, from my end, this has to be a book. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So I did it under his publishing arm.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, I've interviewed 200 cancer survivors. The book is called I Survived Cancer. Here is how I did it. But the second subtitle is 35 Cancer Survivors Share Their Journey. So I take 35 of their stories, tell my own.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up Cleanne the next
Mm-hmm.
day after it was launched and became a bestseller in 4 categories, which to me meant that the story of hope survived. It's not about just the accolades, it's about the impact.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can find that book by searching on Amazon. I have an audiobook companion as well.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, there's a lot of through lines and a lot of really important details that that book conveys. One of them, among all the survivors, is this idea of cancer is not a death sentence. There is this individual in the book who's a finance guy, and he was told he had a 2 to 4% chance of living. He had pancreatic cancer. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, wait, I'm a finance guy. I'm a numbers guy. Why can't I be 2 to 4% of the, why do I have to be 98 to 96% of the people who don't make it?
Mm-hmm.
There was another individual whose name is Rob Paulson, who's a Hollywood voice actor.
Mm-hmm.
He had throat cancer. He was a voice actor for Hollywood, Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain. And he said, I just got through it. I got through it and I used humor to get through my particular challenge. And another through line that I really like to underscore for people is the fact that you need to be your own advocate. Like we can't allay all our power to just one aspect of any medical situation. Cancer is very physical, but there's other aspects of ourselves that we need to look deep within and
Mm-hmm.
unravel and unearth that can help us in the healing process, because it takes a journey and an army
Mm-hmm.
of 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 things and people and situations and resources and tools in order to make ourselves more strengthened to overcome anything that comes in our way.
Wow, that is nice. This book sounds very interested. Hopefully I'm gonna get a copy of it. So what is your website?
Sure. So my website, they can go to saviopclemente.com. On there, they can sign up for my weekly newsletter. I go into a topic which I call the three brains: head, heart, and gut.
Mm-hmm.
And it really allows you to get really in there, because people are like, well, what do you mean go into your body? Yeah, use those 3 areas of yourself. And there's a mechanism that you could do that. They can also, see some of my podcasts. They can read my articles on that website. They can book me for one-on-one coaching. I only coach at this point cancer survivors because I really want individuals to allow themselves to see greater than just their disease. Like most of the clients that I come from, one of them said, like, my body betrayed me. How do I get back the semblance of myself again? Another person expressed they want to be their 2.0 version of themselves. So I allow these cancer survivors to create that new version, allow them to amplify their impact, tell their story, because I was on a panel recently with stage 4 prostate cancer patients, not survivors, so not my audience. And I said to them, the one thing that people can't take away from you, a doctor can tell you that you have the disease, a doctor can tell you have only a few months to live, but no one can take away your story. Your story is your own. You own that. No one else can do it. Just because you have the same disease as someone else doesn't mean it's the same story. It's yours, and it's yours to tell. And it behooves you to tell that story, because it allows other people to grasp and allows people to connect with you, and maybe might even save a life. Who knows?
Wow. So you're also on Facebook and Instagram and the other social media platforms as well.
I am. So on all the platforms, I'm at the Human Resolve.
Mm-hmm.
On LinkedIn, I'm at my name, Savio P. Clemente. But
Mm-hmm.
on all the platforms, including TikTok, I'm at the
Okay.
Human Resolve.
Okay.
That's there. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good, Savio. So do you have any last words for the listeners about open-mindedness?
Yeah, I think well, I would love for them to go on my website and go see the TEDx talk. At this point, it's only been out for 2 months. It's got close to 60,000 views, which to me, once again, means that it's resonating with people. It's
Mm-hmm.
really this idea and framework that I use in my talk, which is called the Aloha framework. So it's an acronym. And
Mm-hmm.
the acronym is really based upon one of the healing modalities that I looked into, which is called Huna healing. It's a Hawaiian healing. And one of the aspects of Huna healing is something called Ho'oponopono. And basically all it is just affirmation that you say to yourself about self-forgiveness, about loving yourself, and about compassion. And
Mhm.
so I actually created this acronym called ALOHA. So A stands for acknowledgement. So
Mhm.
acknowledge your present moment, where you are in whatever
Mhm.
situation you're going through. It doesn't have to be as bad as cancer. It could just be anything in life.
Mhm.
L means listen to that inner voice and have some kindness with that inner voice, because we're kind to other people, but we're very not kind to ourselves. I can cop to that as well. O means opening, and that's the most important one. O is really this idea of opening yourself to self-compassion and self-forgiveness. Self-forgiveness is huge, especially in the individuals that I've interviewed and individuals that I've coached. It's huge. H stands for harnessing. So harness that wisdom that you gained. And
Mhm.
A is the other most important thing, which is acting on that purpose. Act with the intention of moving the needle forward. People always think that they need to make these huge, huge jumps. And what I learned in my trainings as a board certified wellness coach is change doesn't just happen, or change is not something that people don't want to do. Everyone wants change to some degree.
Mhm.
They don't know how to change. They don't know which area of the stage of change they're in. Are they thinking about it? Are they in action? Are they trying to go back? And that's really the key with all this work, is that it just needs to be little, tiny, incremental steps. And then with that coupled some really easy things to do, like have gratitude. But, one of my university, one of the professors that, that I trained with for the University of Pennsylvania mentioned, when it comes to gratitude, not only make a list, but ask yourself why that specific item on your gratitude list, how did that happen? Or why did it happen? And it's such an insightful thing to do, because anyone can make a list. But if you think to yourself, wait, so I'm grateful for my home. Well, why did that home even happen? Oh, I worked hard all these years and I purchased a home. And I
Mhm.
think that really helps. I think the other thing that I really would like to leave your listeners is really, at the end of the day, no matter what you're going through, no matter what life throws at you, no matter what chaos is happening within and around your life, the key step is you got to take control of what it is that you want to put out into the world. Everyone keeps talking about, what's my purpose? What's my purpose?
Mhm.
Cleanne, what's the purpose of all of us on this floating giant rock in space? Like,
Yeah.
it sounds crazy. It sounds like a television movie or
Yeah.
a feature film. But at the end of the day, we have to really look outside of ourselves a little bit and look at ourselves as collective, and the
Mhm.
fact that we're here to learn, share, and grow. We might not agree on everything. We can
Mhm.
agree to disagree, but we have to have some semblance of action, of agreeing on things that are important to us as human beings. I mean, I can go on, political. I can go on in terms of climate change, but at
Mhm.
the end of the day, I think we are stronger when we are together. And
Yeah.
I know that sounds cliched, but it's
No,
really
you're
important.
right.
Very
We are.
important thing to do. Like
Mhm.
when you travel, I went to India for National Geographic in December. I did 2 weeks. I did 8 cities in India. And when
Mhm.
you travel to these different places, and I know not everybody has access to travel, you
Mhm.
realize we're not that much different than most people. I mean,
Yeah.
India is a different country, though, to be honest with you. But I'm Indian, so I can say that. Uh,
Mhm.
but the end of the day, we're not. So maybe then the key then is for us to find shared commonality versus shared differences, which is easy to do.
Mhm.
So
Well said, Savio. Well, thank you for being on Beauty of Colors podcast, Savio.
thank you so much, Glenn. I really appreciate it.